771 UB. Bust me. Bust me. Hi guys, so today I've got a Q&A with Henry Vogel, the CEO and co-founder of Keevo Hardware Crypto Wallet. So let's get into it.
Hey, you, thanks for having me.
We're just going to do a few quick questions and answers regards to the hardware wallet itself. Just to give you guys a bit more information of what Keevo has to offer in the marketplace and why they are unique compared to other hardware wallets. So I'm going to start by asking some questions to Henry. So the first question I have for you, Henry, is there a limited memory on how many different coins and tokens you can add?
Thanks, Ayub. And by the way, I should just mention up front, thank you for being a customer, one of our first kind of customers of Keevo, early adopter a couple of years ago when we think we did our pre-order, and then we're selling direct on our site. Now we're selling on Amazon since last year. So I know you've got a couple of units and you've used it. So first of all, thank you. And thank you for doing this interview as well. In regards to your question, the answer is no, not really. So we have a lot of wallets and coin accounts or coin and crypto accounts and coins that we support. And unlike a lot of cheaper devices that are out there on the market, we are a little bit more expensive, no doubt, and we'll get into that. It's a premium device and the like, but you don't have to uninstall and then reinstall because we have memory limitations on different coin accounts. We have all the major Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin-like accounts, protocols on that blockchain, like obviously the whole Bitcoin family legacy and SegWit, BEC32 and PHSH2, etc. We also have Ethereum and a bunch of Ethereum-related coins. We have XRP. We have a ton of then tokens. So all the thousands and thousands of ERC20 tokens that are all based on the Ethereum protocol. We also have introduced NFTs. So we have both 721s and 1155 NFTs. And on the device itself, there's plenty of memory. We have a dual chip architecture. We have a STM32, which is a general purpose MCU that manages all the non-security related stuff like the battery and the screen, etc. And then we have a secure element from Infineon, a Trust P Optega. We also have flash memory on the board, and we have a backup memory as well. And then we have a carbon key. So all told, there's more than 3 megabytes of memory. We have all of those. You can enable and add all the crypto wallets onto your Keevo. And like I said at the beginning, you don't have to install and then uninstall if you're going to change, to transfer, receive some Ethereum if you've got your Bitcoin, already loaded on, etc.
3 megabytes might not sound like a lot of memory to the people out there that aren't technical with hardware wallets, but when it comes to 3 megabytes, when you're storing just small data in regards to coin, it's plenty.
It really is, because obviously the biggest memory consumption is the crypto wallets and the coins that you add. The actual on the wallet itself, you're really just holding your keys, and that's the core of this blockchain. It's a public and private key share combination. The wallet itself has a secure element, and we actually, not even after its birth, after the true random number generator, do we actually store your private master key. We always recreate it from the factors, and we have 4 factors on Keevo, and we can get into that in a little bit, but the actual device recreates and then signs transactions. Like if I want to send you some Bitcoin or you want to send me some Ethereum, I can give you my address. That is done on the secure element, never leaves that secure chip. We restore my private key based on any 3 of the 4 factors. And just very quickly, there's one factor that's always on that device, on that chip, that is the hardware wallet itself, something I have. There's one factor, which is a password, which is something I know. And that can be, unlike Ledger or Trezor or a bunch of other cheaper hardware wallets, it can be alphanumeric. We have a keyboard on the device itself. It's a touch panel screen, so it's much easier to enter. You can have upper and lowercase key alphabetical letters, you can have symbols, you can have numbers, up to 26 characters. So it's a much stronger password than the 9-digit passwords on most other devices you could enter in, and you have to enter with small, buttons on a small LCD screen, etc. The third factor is something unique to you. It's a fingerprint. We're one of the first and only wallets that has a biometric sensor. So it's something unique to you. And the fourth is, as you know, on our carbon, we call it a carbon key. It's a second memory device that gets connected to the Keevo, and there's a fourth factor there. So in normal use, any three of those four, if I were going to send you some Bitcoin, I could basically enter my password, my fingerprint, I have my Keevo. It takes a couple of seconds. I send you some of my cryptocurrency. All of that memory, all of the nodes out in the blockchain, the decentralized ledger, is where all of that information is stored as to what amount of Bitcoin I own. We have a downloadable app, of course, that lets you see, as you know, it's called Keevo Link, that lets you see your portfolio. But on this device itself, the only thing that I have to store is really those factors to recreate in a secure and simple, easy way my my identity and the wallets for those accounts. And so it's a long-winded answer, but the short version to your question is you can have as many coins on this device at the same time. You don't have to reinstall or uninstall them. You can just very simply send crypto, as I said, of different types.
That's great. Another thing I like about Keevo as well, guys, what you can also do as well, as Henry will also tell you as well, if you've got any requests for any ERC20 tokens, you can email the team, be great, and we'll get it added on in the next update. I've actually got Ali added on. I've requested a few coins, but we have added on. And I've also got requested to get Caked Apes added on as well. So we're also working on that. So that's pretty good. That you guys take feedback from customers and then add on coins that have been requested, in future and upcoming updates. So that's very helpful as well.
Thank you for mentioning that, and absolutely. So a couple things. First, I know you have to request that you can go on the Keevo Link application, which is the downloadable application I mentioned that you have on your PC, your Mac or your PC. That lets you enable accounts. And because we want to have security, all of the actual crypto, the smart contract addresses and the crypto information for that wallet is on your Keevo. So we have right now, the current implementation is a little bit laborious. You have to request it, like you said, the token, if we don't have it in our index. And of course, these are changing every second, every day. There's new NFTs being added, new collections being added, new smart contracts being added, new tokens being added to the ERC20, et cetera. So we try to keep up with that. And with every push of a new index and new firmware, we of course include that. But if you don't find it, if you search on a coin or an NFT, like you said, like you've been collecting and want us to add, it's today, I think it's relatively simple, but you do have to have us add it very soon, in a couple of weeks, hopefully a month, in not our next release, but the one right after that. We will have a way for you to add your own smart contract address on your Keevo device itself. So the first step, right now you rely on us, we add it, we push it to a new release, it's in our index, it goes to the firmware. And the new architecture, the new version that we're going to release, you can add it yourself. We will then add it. It will automatically be added to your Keevo hardware wallet. You don't have to wait for us to add it. And then we, of course, will add it to the index more automatically than you having to email it into us and us, doing it manually. But it's still, the point is security is paramount. It's like we start with wanting to have that be secure, only add it and only add a contract that's real. It's reviewed by an actual person. I know there's technology and we've got algorithms here to make sure that they're real, but we don't want to just add any address, any new token without first being sure that it won't offer any corruption or any anything bad to our service.
Of course. So the second question I've got for you, Henry, is which other blockchains will the Keevo wallet support or has plans to support in the future?
Great question. So a lot of people ask us that. They ask us for new blockchains or like tokens, a little bit less so, like NFTs and tokens. It hasn't been exploding as much. Obviously, the market's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
as you know, we support today the 80-90% of what the market is, which is Bitcoin and Bitcoin-like type coins. We're not maximalist. We wanted to include all of your assets essentially, and not just coins. And we'll talk about that. But we have a vision. We believe that digital assets, your identity, is going to include things like, you know, your certificates, your diplomas, obviously your images, certificates, which are NFTs. Eventually, what we're about to launch is a version that's a non-transferable token of your identity, and then you can attach other things to that, smart contracts, etc. To answer your question, though, in the next release, we have the VeChain protocol that we've been working on, is tested and ready to be released. We have a roadmap on our site. You can go to keevowallet.com. You can see all the sites we support. We also, like you said, we take feedback, so you can add and request certain blockchains. We have a voting system there that you can. That's how we've been doing our roadmap. So in the next month, every 4 to 6 weeks, we add new blockchains. There, as you can imagine, there's a lot of forks and new chains being added. So VeChain is now, we've got going backward compatible, more Ethereum type, Ethereum Classic and Ethereum type of coins. We have other Bitcoin coins like Litecoin and others that we'll be adding as well in the immediate future. Those have been highly requested and voted, and will be in the next release in 4 to 8 weeks.
Great stuff. This is a bit of a technical question. The reason I'm asking this third question is a lot of people out there, they want to know when they invest in a device, how long is it going to last them? Because you can't replace the batteries on it, so is the battery going to be an issue? So how many charge cycles will the hardware wallet last? It's a very technical and difficult one to answer, but I'll let you explain it briefly.
I learned this myself as well. One of our engineers is a battery expert, and obviously we looked at a bunch of different batteries. The first, the high level vision for Keevo is that it's built to last along a lifetime. It's built for intergenerational wealth creation and wealth transfer. We'll talk about our trustless inheritance service. And if you hold the device, if you see the device, if you look at the specifications, not just the battery, but everything about it has been built. We think it costs a little bit more, but we think that your digital identity and your crypto assets, if you're going to accumulate wealth, on this device, should last a lifetime. That, as you said, it's a bit of a technical question. So manufacturers don't give and there isn't actually a direct answer about how much discharges and how much recharges cycles you could have. It really depends on people's usage and how long they keep it on. Do they keep it plugged in? Do they let it drain entirely? I can tell you both from personal experience, but also from our thousands of customers in the last 3 or 4 years. We obviously been developing this for 4 or 5 years. We launched this in pre-order a little bit over 3 years ago. We've been selling thousands of units. We're not at yet the scale of Ledger or others that have been the leaders, have sold millions of units, but we have not had any complaints. There have been no issues. I personally have used Keevo, multiple Keevos. Most of the time that users actually want to use their Keevo, it is a mobile device. It is largely air-gapped. So that what that means is it is protected from malware, that we assume that basically all your computers, all types of online enabled browsers even, are infected. So it's largely air-gapped, that you have a device that's separate, not connected. When I want to connect and when I want to send a transaction or receive a transaction, I do connect my device. And as I mentioned, the secure element stays here. I plug it in to my computer, as you probably do as well, via USB-C cord. And the battery has stayed charged almost entirely. And then after I'm done with that, on the Keevo Link, which is on my computer, I can see all my balance, all that public keys, those balances, the prices, the change can be seen on Keevo Link without having my device plugged in. So I guess the long and short of it is, I don't have a specific number for you, how many discharges. I haven't had any issues, that we haven't had any complaints. In full transparency, sorry, one last thing I will say, we did have an issue about a year ago. And this, again, is more technical maybe than I certainly learned about, but like there isn't a specific way to say that this battery has this much energy, this much charge on it. It's a software based on usage, based on voltage, how much is consumed and how much is discharged. We had an issue, we fixed it. The software was showing people had lower battery usage. It wasn't a battery issue, it was a software issue. It took a couple weeks. And most people, and myself, and I don't know about your experience, but it's the battery has always stayed charged. And even when you turn it, it goes off by itself, the screen goes off, and the device turns off if you're not using it, and the battery usage has stayed charged.
So I've been using my first one for just over 2 years now, nearly 2 years, I think. Not had any issues with the battery whatsoever. So, you know, definitely I see it a product lasting well into, you know, 10 years. I definitely see it. I've not had any issues with it. Plus, with it being a hardware wallet, it's a device you're not going to use every single day. You're gonna store your crypto away. You're gonna put your hardware wallet away, and then only retrieve that hardware wallet when you need to.
That's a great point. I mean, we really do view it as like it's the equivalent of Swiss bank in your pocket, the vault, but without the bank, obviously, because you're your own bank. And like you said, it's a vault. It's where you hold your assets, your generational, intergenerational wealth. If you're going to be day trading and, you know, sending a lot of assets, you probably, like, you have a bank account, you have a checking and a savings or investment and a money fund. You probably have different solutions. I wouldn't suggest that Keevo's and any hardware wallet for that matter is intended to be what you want to trade, you know, very frequently. But if you're going to trade on a, you know, weekly basis or even daily, but not, like you said, you know, not very a lot, it's really quite useful, and it's very secure and simple to use.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you are a daily trader out there and you want to do daily trades, or with a small amount of balance, it's probably better off on a hot wallet and not a cold wallet. Cold wallet is more for general long-term storage. Or if you've got a vast amount of say balancing a certain particular blockchain or crypto, for example, Bitcoin, you want to store it away for long term, then that's the solution for it. You've got a secure device that's not going to be a threat to any security or any hacks. You just store it away. Forget about it until you need it next. So in that case, I'll go to the fourth question I had. What are the biggest challenges facing the adoption of cryptocurrency self-custody? Because a lot of people, they stay away from hardware wallets. I think they don't understand it. They rely on exchanges.
I mean, that's, in one word, it's complexity of blockchain, of hardware wallets, of the space of you know, these cryptocurrencies in general. And that is, you know, what has been the biggest single blocker, and frankly, why we started Keevo. We started this, you know, and have been in the blockchain space for 6 or 7 years, and working with both large enterprises, investors, banks, manufacturers, you know, diamond companies even. But the biggest issue that for retail consumers, for individual investors, for people to actually have their digital identity and their assets has been, I think, complexity. And the way we view it is there's a forced compromise in the market. You have to have either security on one hand, you have to have either security or privacy on one hand or convenience on the other hand. I can't tell you how many people have told me and used Keevo and said, you know, my Coinbase, and I love Coinbase and Brian, and I think they're terrific, and they've, you know, established a ton of trust in the space. They've become they've made it more mainstream. But a lot of people have said, you know, an exchange or custody solution is safe enough. And unfortunately, as we've seen, and we saw this even 6-10 years ago with Mt. Gox, famously, a lot of attacks and hacks, and there's that famous saying, you know, not your keys, not your crypto, and it's true. In the case of a centralized solution, you've entrusted another party, another company, another online software hot wallet, or a exchange that is a custodial solution, a centralized solution with your privacy. You've given them all that, and here in the US, there's KYC, and elsewhere, you've given them a bunch of privacy away, but more importantly, you've entrusted them with your security. In the case of exchanges and custodial solutions, you don't even have keys. So you really don't own your own crypto. You have an IOU. In the case of MetaMask and a lot of these software, Exodus and hot wallets, that you do have your keys, they are keys, but you've entrusted a third party with those keys. So if they get hacked, then you're out of luck. And I like to call it kind of, centralized honeypots of keys. There's a quote in a famous saying here in the US, John Dillinger, a famous bank robber a couple hundred years ago, was asked, why do you rob banks? He's like, well, that's where the money is. So why do people attack custodial centralized solutions? Because that's where the keys are. That's where but unlike banks, you have no regulation, no insurance, FDIC or otherwise here in the US. Different custodial companies claim to have some insurance, but you can get into technical details, but they won't reveal how much of their insurance, how much of their asset base is covered. So often very little. It's what's called not a last lien insurance policy. So you yourself don't actually have your account insured. They insure the overall population. Anyway, it is, you believe it's more convenient, and more easy and simple enough and secure enough, but it's really not. On the other hand, as we've seen, the market, has developed these hardware wallets, these cold storage devices. We came into the market because we looked at them and we said, these are really hard to use, very difficult to use. They have small form factors. They've focused on, cheap and low cost. But the actual user interface, we think, is not only not worthy of your crypto and your identity, but it's just really hard to use. And it's actually not that safe. And that is the final and most important point, which is when we saw what people were doing there, if it's a hardware device, if you were to lose that, or it gets stolen, God forbid, or it gets inoperable for some reason, almost all, if not all of these hardware devices come with a recovery card. And during their setup process, they ask you to write down on a piece of paper your seed phrase, which is anywhere from 12 to 24 words in a specific order. And they test that you have the right order, as you've seen. And it's not only horribly inconvenient, you now have this supposed piece of technology that's going to keep your crypto, your private master key, private and secure, but you have to actually store and manage this backup device, which is the seed phrase. And that's how everybody does it, but it's so inconvenient. And not only that, it's insanely insecure, because anybody that gets not even a hold of your recovery card, they just see what your seed phrase is. And there's been a lot of phishing attacks. People store it electronically. MetaMask, famously, a lot of people said they'll help you out. They saw your seed phrase. They got you to show them the seed phrase. They took a screenshot. They can steal your identity. They steal your crypto in a heartbeat. And you may not even know it, because all you have to do is enter that seed phrase into another wallet. You become that digital, it recreates your private master key. You can send that crypto to another account. And once it's gone, it's gone. There's no undo button. There's no centralized authority that you can get recourse. So Keevo has the world's first and only, as you can probably tell, we hate seed phrases. We provide it. There's a lot of questions about, you can still see your seed phrase on your Keevo. We say there's a lot of risks. We don't want you to write it down, but you can, as I said earlier, you can restore, we recreate your private master key every time, just based on those factors, your fingerprint, the password that you enter. You can restore if it gets lost or stolen. First of all, any thief that gets your Keevo can't do anything with it, because they still need your password and your fingerprint. Even if they have the device, it's not enough. But that's where our carbon key comes in, because with Keevo, we have the ability to restore a device without a seed phrase. You get this, you can keep this carbon key yourself in a safe or under your mattress, or we have a partnership with Iron Mountain where for a fee, it's a service, optional. We'll store it for you separately, but you basically connect this carbon key to a replacement Keevo. Remember, there was that fourth factor on this carbon key. You put your password and your fingerprint on this new replacement device. In a matter of seconds, you can restore your device without having to manage or access or store securely a seed phrase or enter in those 24 words. It's both very convenient, but really much safer than any other device that's out there.
I agree with you, Henry. I think Keevo is the only device out there that offers anything like this. There isn't anything else on the market, because I've been looking at hardware wallets for the last couple of years, and when I came across Keevo, I just went with them. I've tried other hardware wallets in the past, and as great experience, user experience. And that's the thing that makes Keevo unique. It's because we've got that key. You can store it away in the, even if you choose to store it away in your safe, you can do, or send it off to Iron Mountain with the subscription plans that you've got. And you're not risking that, because that carbon key stores your footprint, fingerprint. Only you can unlock it.
That's right. That's a good point. Thank you for adding that. That's really important, because nobody, not even Keevo, not Iron Mountain, nobody that gets a hold of this carbon key can do anything with it. All it has on here, it does have that fourth factor, but it's encrypted. And more importantly, though, it has the what are called the hashes of your fingerprint and your password. So only you have to enter in your fingerprint. You connect it to a Keevo device. I mean, first of all, nothing is secure, 100% secure. Anybody that tells you that it's 100% secure would be telling you it would not be true. I don't want to proclaim that we believe that we have the most secure, and it is incredibly secure. We've gone to lengths and cost to make it more secure, but it's not 100%. But that said, sorry, that little tangent. This carbon key, I mean, we've gone to the extra length, as I was mentioning, to have a custom interface between the carbon key and the Keevo, for example. You can't just hook it up to USB cable. That's not to say it's, again, 100% secure, but it is more secure. There's more roadblocks that a person would have to go through. But even if they are able to hack this and get it together, they still have to have your fingerprint, which is unique to you, and they still have to have your password. Again, those can be brute force, but we've gone to lengths to make it much more secure, that you can use it, and at the same time, much more easy to use than the current devices that are out there.
Definitely. Henry, what do you think will be the next big trend in cryptocurrency wallets?
Well, they say imitation, I guess, is the best form of flattery. So we are seeing, and we do believe, and it's been a roller coaster, but we believe, number one, premium devices that are worthy of your identity and worthy of your crypto, your digital assets, are coming. Ledger just announced they have a pre-order for a new device with a great hardware. So we're glad to see them move to more device like Keevo. It has a touch panel like Keevo has had for a couple of years. It has a touch panel display that you can enter in on a keyboard, your password, etc. So I think premium is number one. I think this issue about complexity and what we're up to, trying to break that compromise of, on the one hand, security and privacy and safety on one hand, and convenience and ease and simplicity on it. I think that is a trend, and we are seeing that. And what we're trying to do, what we've been doing, and what we'll continue to do, is try and break that compromise. And then the last point, as I see it, and our vision for Keevo isn't just to have your own hardware device, although we think that is your most secure solution. We want to integrate with other existing devices, because we know that every almost person on the planet has a iPhone or an Android. They have other hardware. They have tablets. They have computers. We see this explosion of other devices. And when I described Keevo, and when we set out, now we have a patent filing, we haven't been registered yet, but this whole concept of multi-factor authentication, multi-sig authentication, we haven't even talked about that, but multi-factor, the 3 out of 4. We just started with that today. There's 3 out of 4 on our device with our carbon key. That could be 5 out of 7. It could include one of the factors being on your iPhone, one of the factors being on your computer, desktop, or a mobile tablet, etc. So our software, our vision for this solution is that we want to be integrated and want to be part of your digital life, because as we see the future, all of these paper assets, whether they're contracts or notary publics that sign things, or diplomas or certificates or medical, all that's being digitized, and you should own that. We think it's a fundamental right that it's your data, it's your asset. It should be tied in a secure and easy fashion, just like your Bitcoin or your Ethereum is. It should be tied to your digital identity, and only in a secure and simple way. Only you should be able to sign in for that. And that's our vision. That's where we think the market is headed.
Great stuff. Very, very interesting. Very interesting to see how that goes in the long term. Probably in about 5 years' time or so, or maybe even sooner.
Yeah, I think sooner.
We'll see something.
Well, a lot of time, being in the startup and being an entrepreneur for many years, people underestimate how quickly a change will happen. They probably overestimate that it will happen more quickly. So there's this concept of like adoption and S curve. They think it will happen, sooner. The adoption will happen sooner. It takes a little bit longer, but once it starts happening, and I think we're at that, sort of the knee of the curve of people having these digital devices that have proliferated, having these assets that we're at that knee of the curve where it's going to happen much more rapidly than people even think, around the digitization of these assets. And you need to have a secure and simple way to basically manage and store and access and transfer them.
Definitely. And will Keevo Wallet still do it in? I think we've covered this already. Well, I'll ask it and then I'll just. So, will Keevo Wallet still do the intended job 10 years from now, or will the firmware affect its future use? I think we've already covered that earlier on.
It absolutely. I mean, I'm a obviously very optimistic person, but I also believe we built Keevo for durability and as I mentioned before, intergenerational kind of wealth creation and transfer. And we wanted that, we've invested the cost and the extra effort to make it not only break that compromise, make it more secure, as well as more convenient, easy to use, but we've invested to make it durable. And that's our belief. And what I've talked about this vision is that you should have your digital assets on tied to yourself, your digital identity, and Keevo should last for you for a lifetime, and it should also be able to be transferred to others for their lifetime as well.
Definitely, I think that's very important when you look at hardware wallet, and Keevo definitely has that to offer. Because when you look at some of the cheap alternatives on the market, what I've noticed is, Henry, when I look at them, they're not as durable. They're not going to last as long. But what you get with Keevo, you definitely get what you pay for with the Keevo wallet. And will there be support for staking in the future? Because there is a lot of regulation around that at the moment. So
there is. The answer. If I knew the answer, I think I wouldn't be here. But I think it's unclear. I mean, the future of staking, unfortunately, I mean, it makes a ton of sense from a standpoint of a truly decentralized solution to be able to, as we mentioned earlier, you hold these assets for a long period of time. You should be able to lend them out in a secure and decentralized way. But given the FTX implosion and BlockFi and a bunch of other companies at Binance, they frankly have been unregulated and they have been under reserved. So hacks and attacks was one concern that we've had, and we've seen a significant rise over the last 10 years. Like I mentioned, Mt. Gox 2014, almost a decade ago, but even still, like the amount of money that's been hacked. But the implosion that was, and what I think will become pretty evident, obviously courts and juries will determine this, but amount of fraud that's been happened by the actual owners of these centralized solutions, frankly, have made it untenable. That's why the governments are. There's other reasons too. They want to control everything, and I don't say this because I'm a maximalist, but I'm. It's sort of Mark Twain once said, "There's only two certainties: death and taxes." And so governments want to control. This is the way they've controlled essentially their power by virtue of controlling assets, taxation, and privacy and the likes. But to my mind, what Keevo is intending to do, what the whole future of blockchain and decentralized ledger technology is there for, is to enable you to have a way to be your own custodian, to be able to have your own assets. And if I choose to lend you, if there's a true peer-to-peer solution, a decentralized solution that gets adoption, like I said earlier, we want to support that. We want Keevo to be it's a consumer electronic device. We're not issuing our own tokens or exchange. We're not a financial service in any way, shape, or form. And we don't want to support, we want to support, individuals, people that want to control their own private master key, their own digital identity and their assets. And we want to have that consumer electronics device be a way that you can access it easily and securely. I can't prognosticate how quickly that will grow, whether people do it. They've done it with centralized solutions. You give money to, and a lot of people gave a lot of money to companies like FTX and others, and then they would go and rent and lend it out. If there's a truly decentralized solution and peer-to-peer, which becomes adopted and mainstream, we'd love to add that.
Great. So, for the final question, Henry, is there plans for MetaMask integration for the future?
Yes, but I'm frustrated. You could probably tell a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think you've offered to provide your viewers and hopefully our users. We've sent this out as well. So we did about a year ago, did the integration already. They have an open API. They have a ring that we have been able to integrate. So you can use Keevo as a secure wallet. You can go to MetaMask. You have your wallet there, or better yet, don't have your wallet there. You have your, for long-term storage, you have your own hardware device. And we've done the work. You can integrate it. I actually have a downloadable version of that that includes integration with MetaMask today. They have not, as we've submitted that to them over a year ago, they came back to us and said, unfortunately, we're not going to support any more hardware wallets. This is just my supposition. I think they're getting paid by, our competitors and others. And so we have actually requested, we said, here's all the benefits of Keevo, some of which, many of which I've described. And I think you've been kind enough to offer that link to users on their community, where and a lot of our over 200, 300 of our community members have said, hey, you should integrate Keevo. We are in the process now of looking at some other alternatives, like Coinbase has a new wallet that they've offered that they has an open API, and Coin Wallet, Wallet Connect and others. So ideally we want to have others, but so far the work is done. It's actually supported. We just like MetaMask to approve our integration so that we could, so other users can get the simplicity and the security that Keevo offers.
I believe I have a link in my email. So once I've posted the video, what I'll do, you'll find the link in the description box below. And all you do, you just click on the link, don't you?
There's a MetaMask community, a support and community kind of blog. As you'll notice, a lot of comments over the last year and people upvoting, and we've tried to describe all the benefits that I've described here. There's different users, and they really should. That's the only recourse they've given us. That if anybody has any connections, I can get a better audience with them. They could kind of see the benefits of offering this to our users. It is an open API, so we've done the development, and we'd hope that they would support it. So if you have a Keevo, you can more easily sign your transactions than expose your seed phrases, all the problems that MetaMask software wallets have that we've talked about. And hopefully it'd be better. We think there's a big population of people that find this better than the current hardware wallets, cold storage wallets that are out there.
Great. So those are all the questions I've got for you, Henry. I mean, thank you very much for your time and the wealth of information that you've provided us with.
Thank you so much again, and sorry for going on about some, and we didn't even get to touch upon like our inheritance and new product that's coming out called that's around identity and authentication called Keevo Verified Profile. There's more on our website that you can find out. We're going to launch that. Hopefully we'll get another chance to talk to you some more, to you. And of course, you've been a great supporter for a while, so you'll get early access, and we love your feedback and keep it coming.
I appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to add, Henry, before we end the interview?
Really, that's what I just mentioned. I would say go check us out. You can email me as well directly. I'm just henry@keevowallet.com. We are a startup. We're a small team. We have a really big, ambitious vision. So bring us feedback. We're looking for as much support as we can get. And as I said, we got a couple of really exciting new products that are about to be launched, and I can't wait to tell you more about those, like this identity authentication solution I mentioned, KVP, as well as our inheritance solution. So read up about us, ask us questions. Thank you so much for spreading the good word, and really appreciate it.
Thank you. And also, guys, you'll also find the link for the hardware wallet in the description box below. I'll leave a link to the Keevo website and also to your Amazon store, because you've got a special offer on, haven't you, on Amazon store?
You're a better marketer than I am. That's even better. We have had the store up, and thank you for adding both links. We just launched Amazon we wanted to do it the right way. We wanted to have enough product. We had, the supply chain has been really dicey the last couple of years. We now have plenty of inventory. We're building a lot of inventory. We launched in December. So if you could include that link as well, it's a very secure, and it's here in the US, Amazon.com, but even if you live abroad, they ship. If you're a Prime member, you have free shipping in the US for KeevoWallet.com. But if you go to Amazon, they're doing our fulfillment. And we definitely want to build our velocity there. And if you like us, just give a plug as well. Give us another positive review. Thank you, Ayub, for your having bought multiple devices and then your reviews as well. But and if you have any feedback, constructive feedback issues that I can help with, as I said earlier, just email me, Henry, and feel free to add my email as well, because again, we're very responsive and open and looking for feedback.
No problem. Thank you very much, Henry. I'll speak to you shortly in the near future. You take care. Yep. Look after yourself. Thank you. That's the interview with Henry Vogel, the CEO and co-founder of Keevo Hardware Wallet. He's in the US. There's an 8-hour time difference where he is. I believe he's in the Bay Area. I'm in the UK, so big time difference. I appreciate him doing this question and answer interview. Thought I'd just get you guys a bit more information in regards to why the Keevo Hardware Wallet. I mean, I have 3 of these myself. I have 3 Founders Edition. A big fan of the product. Absolutely love them. For myself, I love premium products, and this is the only premium wallet out there with a very unique carbon key. There's nothing else like it on the market. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the video provided you with valuable information for you to help make your decision. And don't forget to check out the links below and leave the Amazon store for Keevo Wallet. I'll also leave the direct website as well, so you can go and check it on there. And if you do buy the products, then leave a feedback for them, because they are one of the best, most secure hardware wallets out there, and they are just continuing to grow and grow and grow. There's a lot of cheap alternatives out there, but we don't really provide a secure over form factor that Keevo has to offer. Until next time, guys, take care. Thank you.